Fight Night!
Everybody, it feels good to be back in the studio. We took a long break for the holidays, had a lot of fun stuff we got into, and I'm excited to be sitting here with one of my very good friends in the sport. He's an OG in the industry. He's been around for a very long time, especially here in Florida. I would say he is a legend. I'm with Jim the Beast Alers.
You said it right.
Yeah. Jim's literally one of my best friends, and I call him Alers all the time. It just goes to show you that, like, once something is taught to me, it's very hard for me to unlearn it or to fix it. Because as I looked at him, I felt like he was waiting for me to mess up his name.
I just stopped correcting people already.
But yeah, I did get it right this time. Quick intro. So Jim has literally fought for everything. He's been in multiple countries fighting. He's fought in the UFC. He's fought in bare knuckle. He's fought in combat night. He is very well versed in the sport. He is now a coach. He runs a gym. He's judged fights. He's reffed fights. We'll talk about that. So he's really done everything in the sport, guys. It's very rare that you come across a guy that has done not only has he done everything, he's been successful at everything. There's a lot of guys who might fight and they find a lot of success in fighting, but then they just can't run a gym. Or they're really good at running a gym and being a coach, but they're really horrible at fighting. Jim, in my opinion, is an anomaly. There are very few guys that can kind of check all the boxes the way that Jim does. So Jim, without me continue to blabber on, tell us a little bit about your journey, how you got started in the sport, and kind of just give us the whole rundown.
Thanks, man. That was such kind words. So I think like most people, I started with wrestling. A lot of people in the sport, and I was just like this little shit who thought that he can fight until I met this wrestler who, in my mind, by no means could this guy kick my ass. And he challenged me to a little like friendly fight one day behind the portables at school, and he just kicked my ass. Just kept slamming me on the ground, slapping me in the face. And I was like, oh shit, I need to come to do this next year. He's like, yeah, sure you will. I went in, got whooped day after day. And I think that's what just kept bringing me back. I'm the type of person that if I'm going to do something and I can't figure it out, and I'm like, I don't know why I can't figure it out, I need to figure it out. And so I just kept with the wrestling, and I remember challenging everybody on my team to try to get varsity from like 135 to 145, 155, and just kept losing. Ended up getting varsity my first year just by people being sick and missing weight. So I just got really lucky, and just continued to wrestle, and did pretty well in that in high school. And then after that, I was like, I think I'm done with this shit. I don't want to cut weight. I don't want to do any of that. And found jiu-jitsu. And to me, jiu-jitsu was just like a fun thing at first. I never had any aspirations of fighting professionally. It was just like, this is kind of like wrestling, and I can do it for fun. Next thing I knew, I'm in the gym every single day, twice a day, just planning my whole life around how can I be at the gym. And my wife, Melissa, who was my girlfriend at the time, was like, hey, you should try that fighting stuff. I know you guys have a fight coming up. You should try it. So the first pro fight I did was at my college at UCF Arena. It was for Cage Warriors. And I was like, sure, I'll do it. Most of my teammates were doing it. I jumped into it. I had no striking experience, really. I probably did a couple Muay Thai classes and jumped in. It felt like a long fight, but I think it was only like a minute and 35 seconds. Ended up winning by triangle, and I got a whole $500, $300 to fight, $200 to win. And to me, that was super cool. I was like, oh, I got money just to do something that I've done my whole life for free. And I was like, I'm going to keep doing this.
Did you take any amateur fights?
No, we did not have amateur fights at this time, which I tell my students all the time, like, man, you guys are so lucky. I'm like, take amateur fights in kickboxing, do MMA, do everything you can so that you can get that experience. So I just went straight pro. It was hard to go amateur. You had to actually leave the state, to fight amateur. You have to go to Georgia, do this, and I'm not wasting money to do that.
Yep.
So fought then, and I think like 3 months later they had another fight, and I just kept going. And anytime there was fights in Florida, there was like a lot of different type of promotions back then, and I would just jump on them, thinking. And then eventually, I thought I was hot shit. Ended up losing a fight in like 20 seconds. I think it was like my 5th fight. And I was like, man, I need to learn how to strike. So I started going to boxing at Peachy's Boxing. I don't think it's around anymore, but started going there, started doing Muay Thai with Bobby Robert. I don't know if he's even still around anymore, but
I think he still teaches here and there.
In Central Florida know who he is. And just from there, I went on a 9-fight win streak, which got me into the UFC. And again, that was not even part of the plans, and just continued down that road. Fought a couple of times in the UFC, didn't work out for me, but then from there, bare knuckle reached out, fought some bare knuckle. Never thought I would do that in my life, but it just worked out for me. I went in, I think I got a knockout in my first fight by like 40 seconds, and just continued that all the way till I fought for the belt. My mind was, I'm going to keep doing this till I lose. I lost, and I was like, okay, I'm done. But it's just hard to stay out of competition. I'm still competing. I'm turning 40 next year, but maybe no more punches to the head, but I'm still doing jiu-jitsu as much as I can.
I love that he says maybe no more punches to the head. Yeah, I thought I still think you're crazy for doing bare knuckle. I remember whenever you first told me you were doing it, I tried to convince you not to do it. I was like, nah, bro, like, this ain't it. And then, yeah, you got the knockout, and it was like, yeah, good luck telling this guy anything now. He's knocking people out in bare knuckle. And he knocked out quite a few people in bare knuckle. Even guys like Julian Lane that are damn near impossible to knock out. Mike Perry couldn't knock him out, and you knocked him out. It's funny, your journey up to the point where you say I got into the UFC, I could literally like just tell someone your story, and it's my story. Like, no amateur fights. I tell guys all the time, you have no idea how blessed and lucky you are to figure it out as an amateur. A lot of these guys look at it as like a curse.
No,
like, oh, I gotta take 5 amateur fights. And it's like, bruh, MMA, especially now, is not what it was when we were coming up. Everyone was doing that. Like, it's like in every state now they have amateur rankings. They have a good amateur scene. But at the time when we did it in Florida, there were amateur events going on, but a lot of people were just turning pro.
Man, I look at those Combat Night champs, and I'm like, these guys would have kicked my ass when I was like 5-0 pro by now. They still would have kicked my ass.
Yeah, I see it all the time.
They're so good now. So it's a cool thing that they have this opportunity to learn and just make mistakes. I tell them, make mistakes, take the hardest fights you can.
Yeah.
Too many times we see guys, want to take the easy fights. They go undefeated in amateur, and then we never hear from them again. They go pro, and like, oh shit, this is different.
It happens all the time. And I used to be guilty of like, the first probably 40 events. We're at like around event 200 now, but the first 40 events, if a guy was a big ticket seller, give him whoever, like, make sure he wins. I don't care. And obviously, like, we learned, well, if this guy's trying to go to the UFC, if this guy's trying to really do something in the sport, this isn't helping him. This is like hindering him. And now you look at our rankings, probably ever since event number 40, I don't care if you sell 500 tickets or you sell 5 tickets, you're getting a tough fight. I mean, right. That's just it. If you're saying you want to go to the UFC, you're getting a tough fight. Now, if you're a dad with 3 kids and you just, oh, there's something I want to do, I want to find you someone else that's a dad with 3 kids that this is something to do. I don't care what your goal is. I want to try to match you with somebody else that, like, that's their goal. So it's always interesting to see, like I said, how guys treat their amateur career. It tells me a lot about if the fighters understand business or not in general, because I see guys all the time. We have guys from camps that we don't really they don't really fight with us as amateurs. So they get to 5-1, 6-0, 7-0, and they want to come fight for us as an amateur, and they're asking for like, hey, can I get like a good, an easy, soft landing? It's like, no, bro, you're 7-0, and you never fought with as an amateur. Like, we don't know how good you are or you aren't. I go look at their records, and they're fighting 0-3 guys, 1-3 guys at 5-0, and it's like, yo, that's why, like, I don't want to work with guys who didn't come up with us as an amateurs, because I know you're ready to be a pro when it's time to be a pro. I know you did the right things. You know, and it's just so funny when I see these guys who like treated their amateur career as a way to get cool or be popular in the group. Oh, I can say I'm undefeated. It's like, nah, man. Like, honestly, if you come to me and you say you want a pro fight and your record is 5 at this promotion, 3 at that promotion, none at combat night, especially if I know I hit you up, bruh, I'm sure as hell not giving you a soft landing. You're gonna fight one of our studs.
Yeah, somebody who's put the work in for combat night.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I tell my guys, like, I want you guys to take a loss in amateur, because once you go pro, that's it. So you need to get that feeling, like, take those hard fights. If my guy, his weakness is wrestling, I'm like, yo, give me a tough wrestler. Let him experience that. If his weakness is striking, give me someone who's knocking people out. I want him to experience that. You don't want to go into that pro career, never experienced that loss. I think it pushes people. I think it gives you some drive. You're like, I never want to feel that again.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, it all starts a lot of times. It's not the fighter that's looking for easy fights. Just being honest, it's normally the coach that's looking for easy fights.
Like, I'll fight anybody.
Yeah, fighters will fight anybody, and you know, you should listen to your coach. And there's definitely like, yo, if you know your wrestling is just horrible and you're working on it, it's like, yeah, okay, maybe we wait till you got 2 or 3 fights to fight a really good wrestler, like, you know, get better at wrestling. But I hate it whenever coaches are like, have a 2-0 guy or 3-0 guy, and they're like, oh, you know, I don't think his wrestling is there just yet. And it's like, bro, he's 3-0. What do you mean? What do you mean? And it's MMA. You know how many high level wrestlers, although wrestlers get it the least, but like black belts, high level Thai guys just get mauled in their fight because they don't have the full package, or they thought they could just rely on that one sport.
Oh my God, I've seen a couple recently, black belts, and
yeah,
I'm like, if you can't take this person down, either, like, what are you gonna do?
You're in trouble. Yeah. You know,
it's
it's
not 1990 anymore.
No, you got to have it all. You got to at least be able to understand it all. You might not be able to do it all really well, but you have to have the fight IQ to understand it. You know, there's a few guys that have really their amateur career. They did it right. You know, like Val Woodburn, Shane Godoy. I remember Shane, we offered him a black belt on like the week's notice, a black belt from ATT Lima, which ATT Lima is known for also really good MMA. The Lima brothers come out of there, Jacal, and we offered him a high level black belt on like a week's notice. He didn't even care. Knocked him out in 30 seconds. Knocked him out in 30 seconds. So it's like, I think the guy missed weight too. So, but you know, when you can do it and you can get away with it as an amateur and not have to worry about it affecting your record, you learn what your limits are. You learn what you're capable of. It's going to build your confidence. Or it's going to smack you down a little bit because you realize, like, oh, I'm not as good as I thought I was. Like, oh, I got beat by this guy that I thought I was going to beat. But if you're just taking fights that you know you can win, I even go to as far as like, are you even fighting?
Yeah. It's just like just trying to build that clout. And I think a lot of times these guys maybe don't even really want to be fighters. They just see that there's popularity in it right now, and they're just looking to build Instagram followers.
I agree. There used to be, when we were fighting, and like, I love talking to Julian, Vince McGinnis. There's a few guys who are in our generation that I still get to interact with. Obviously you, man, the only praise you got were from other dudes that were in the venue that you were in. There was no like big social media presence where you could like post your videos or your pictures. Girls for sure didn't care if you were fighting. In fact, if you were fighting, they probably avoided, like, oh, you're a fighter. Like, it was not a cool thing to be a fighter, unless you were a dude, and dudes appreciated it. Now it's a little different, but I say it all the time. Like, these guys do not understand. And even though Combat Night is my company, I know what we fought in. I know I fought in a barn. I know I warmed up on cardboard. I know I had to walk across mud to get to the cage I was fighting in. Like, I fought in the worst of the worst conditions. And a lot of times didn't even have videos of my fight to watch after. I remember asking a guy for a shirt after a promotion where I got paid $300 for a pro fight. And I was like, hey man, I was wondering if I get one of those event shirts that have my name on the back of it. And he was like, yeah, bud, there's a booth right over there. They're $20.
Oh my God.
And I was like, you motherfucker.
I really, and I tell these to my students all the time, like, you guys don't really understand how grateful you should be for a promotion like Combat Night, because it just was horrible out there before this, like, it's just like you said, fighting on in barns and warming up on cardboard, like literally in the same room as your opponent's gonna be, and you're just like, well, I guess we're gonna see what happens, so I tell my guys all the time, like, you're just so lucky that you have someone who fought, who experienced it all, because they see where you're coming from. Like, these guys weren't giving us anything. Nothing.
I'm happy I experienced all the things I did in my fight career, because whenever Josh and I decided to start Combat Night, our starting point was literally, all right, what does everyone else do that we kind of have to do? Like, we got to find a matchmaker. We don't want to be dealing with that bullshit. Like, we got so much other stuff to worry about, and matchmaking's hard. We got to have insurance, I'm sure. We got to have, what are these things we have to have that every other promotion has? And then immediately after that list, it was, what are the things that the other promotions do that we absolutely hate? Like, what has happened to us in our career where we were just like, man, they made us feel subhuman, or they made us feel like a piece of shit, or they made us feel like, we were asking for too much. And really, we're not. We're the show. Like, right. No one treated us like the star, but we felt like we were the star. So we were like, all right, we're gonna do that for our guys. And a few of those things right off the back was like, you got to have good film. Got to have something you can go back and watch. I don't want any fighter to be like, oh, I don't have any footage of my fight, or I can't show that.
That's something I hate, that I go back. I mean, obviously it wasn't the same back then.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, I don't even remember my first 8 fights, probably.
Yep.
If not on YouTube, I don't even know where to find them.
I fought Gian in 2012, 2013. I don't have any footage of the fight with fucking... Wow. Like, one of my favorite fights. I don't have nothing to. There's like somewhere I found footage, and it's like the guy's like bumbling and stumbling. I was like, well, I'm getting sick watching my fight. Yeah.
On a VHS.
Yeah. So like everything we do, all the merch we give away stems from that one promoter in Georgia. Literally, that one guy that told me to go to the merch booth and I could buy a shirt. I was so pissed. I'll never forget that. Like, walking out of that it was a pavilion. Outdoor pavilion. I had to walk through mud to get to the fight. I warmed up in a cow stall. It was it was like a BYOB event, literally. Bring your own beer. And that probably has stuck with me the most out of like almost anything I've done as a fighter, as far as like bad stuff that happened. It wasn't even that bad. It was just like, I couldn't believe I just beat their hometown boy for $300. He sold a bunch of tickets, and the event's over. It's like they do like a party right after it, and it's like, go buy a shirt. And I was just like, you motherfucker.
Yeah, there wasn't really too many promotions in Orlando really at the time. Like, when I fought in Orlando, it was with Cage Warriors USA. They only had a couple of shows before they kind of stopped doing that. And I think it was 2011 when you brought Combat Night to Orlando.
Yeah, 2012, I think. And towards the end,
I was, right into the middle of my fighting career. I'm trying to I guess make it to the UFC right now. And I kind of fell into a position of coach at that same time. Yeah. I started working at Alliance, which is now Orlando BJJ, and I just wanted to get other teammates that can give me some work. Yeah. And I'm like, hey guys, let's start doing these MMA classes. I think you just showed up one day with Bill.
Yep, I came pretty much almost at the very beginning. Like,
very beginning, yeah.
Michael Lange was still going to be the coach at that time.
Very beginning, and we just started doing our own thing, just kind of doing practices, and just, hey, you want to fight? Hey, I see you have some potential. Yeah. You can come join the fight team. Talking to like Angel and Casey and those guys that I'm like, oh, they look pretty athletic. They kind of know what they're doing, and we just made a squad. And I'm just fighting and I guess coaching at the same time, just trying to figure it all out. But Combat Night just kind of made it easy. It wasn't hard to do both at the same time.
Yeah, and guys had like a goal now, like they could fight at Combat Night right here, and I'm training with them as well. There was still Breakthrough MMA was around when we first came here, which was in like kind of in Daytona, so it was still a little bit far away. But I remember those early days at Alliance. Brad, what a ball he dropped, man! What a ball he dropped from like the team we had, the CrossFit stuff that he had going. I remember Eric had built such a solid like group of guys out there doing that.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, there was a Alliance BJJ right now, guys, believe it or not, could be the number one MMA school, I think, in the state. Like it had all the components. It had a huge gym facility. Bobby Robert, love him or hate him, whatever you think about him, he's a great striking coach.
Yeah.
He's a good striking coach. They had the Bruno Malfacini in the jiu-jitsu realm. I think they just let him have the reins way too much. They let him control way too much. Like as a business owner, I'm never letting anybody think they have that much control in my business. Get out of here.
That's something I've learned as a coach is I've seen way too many times where they're like, hey, you're our head jiu-jitsu coach. You teach all of our jiu-jitsu classes. And of course they think after a while, I don't need you. I can do this myself.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, I've been a part of way too many gyms that have split. When I first started training, it was just Gracie Baja in Orlando. There was Gracie Baja, and I think there was something called like 6 levels or something.
Yep, 6 levels, John. And by the way, Gracie Baja was the first school that could have had the monopoly here.
Yeah, that was, I mean, every school, I think, from Orlando.
Mike Lee,
from
Seth, Vinny.
I remember as a white belt, just
Paul.
watching these guys train. It was like you said, Ben Saunders, Seth, Paul, watching them train MMA and be like, oh, that's super cool. And then just one day they were gone. And now we had this feud of Gracie Baja versus ATT. And that became like the first like gym wars of Orlando, I would say. Like people were mad that they left. I didn't really understand, but my coaches were telling me don't like ATT, so I was like, sure, you know, I was kind of brainwashed in that Gracie Baja cult.
Yes. No, it's hilarious, man. It's so funny to see like history just continues to repeat itself too. Like I've watched people leave, you know, different gyms and start their own gym and like think it's easy or it's going to be, you know, whatever. I try to talk you out of starting a gym too. Like apparently I'm not that great of a friend because I've tried to talk you out of so many things that you've been so successful at.
That's been my whole life. You know, I think I've had friends that I've just had to push to the curb and they're like, why are you trying to do that to make it to the UFC? There's like 1% of people that do it. And I'm like, well, I'd rather live and try than to say I've never tried at all. You know, I'll regret it. So it's always been my thing. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to prove you wrong.
And you were 14-1 when you got in, or 12-1?
13-1.
13-1. Yeah. Okay. What did you, because like, man, guys now are complaining if they're not there by like 6-0. They're like, oh, I should be in the UFC right now. What do you feel like was the tipping point to finally get you in? Like, what do you think you did that made you stand out and get you to the UFC? Because I try to tell guys that if you're American, if you're a wrestler, and you're trying to get to the UFC, yeah, that's a bad if you get one or the other, it's not that great. But if you're both of those, that's a bad combo because they want people knocking people out. They want highlight reels nonstop. And you were submitting everybody, like you were on a tear, just submitting people. So what do you feel like got you in there and made you stand out to get there? And what kind of advice do you have for somebody who is trying to get there?
Yeah. So like you said, I went 13-1. I think I had like 11 submissions going in. And I definitely think if I can go back, if I'm in a position where I can either submit you or TKO you from the ground, I think I should have went for the TKOs. You know, of course, to me, the submission was quicker and faster. But like you said, I would see people going into the UFC 5-0 or something, but they have all TKOs. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, damn, what the hell? I have way more wins. But I started to see like that's what people like. They like to see that. I think the day of like being a submission specialist in MMA is kind of gone because really at that high level, everybody's so good. It's hard to submit people. And I think it's just taking fights. I think I fought like 5 or 6 times in 1 year, the last year before getting into the UFC. I was supposed to have a big fight against this guy that everyone wants to talk to me about, you know, on my podcast, but he pulled out and I 1 week's notice. Hey, I'm still fighting. Fought a black belt. I think I was a purple belt at the time. submitted him still. And I just showed that, hey, I'm willing to fight everybody or anybody. Hank Porche, who was my coach and manager at the time, he would just constantly reach out to Joe Silva at the time about anybody who pulled out, people against Chad Mendez, against big guys that are like wearing big win streaks. And he'll be like, man, you're crazy. Like to think that your guy will have any chance. And we're like, hey, just give us that shot. And we just kept reaching out. And eventually one day he was just like, hey, I have this fight for you. You want it? Didn't even look at any contract or anything. I'm just like, of course. Hell yeah. I'm taking it.
I remember that. Man, so you made a transition. I was thinking about this as you were talking. You made a transition at some point, and I remember it, where you were still like, man, you wanted to fight, you wanted to be a fighter, but like you had your gym and it was time to be a coach. And you said it earlier, like you don't know if maybe you're done getting punched in the head. I feel the same way, like all the time. I'm just like, yeah, you never know. Like I could maybe be in a fight tomorrow. What was it for you that made you helped you make that transition? Because I feel like a lot of guys have an issue with that, and just to be honest, a lot of guys don't have the deck of cards that you were dealt, or that you've made, that you've built, where you do have the option to be a coach, because you're not just like a brute when you fight. Like you're real technical, you're a really good fighter. So what do you think was that helped you flip that switch to go from like, all right, I need to start focusing on my guys and helping them come up in the sport, versus like, I just want to be a fighter and I want to be the number one priority in my life?
I think I wanted to not be my whole life to be defined as he's a fighter. Like everything I did for, I don't know, 15 years or so was Jim the fighter. And I'm like, I want to be a lot more than that. And I think I can give back a lot more to young up and coming guys, to people who not only want to fight, but need the gym for so much more. I noticed that, I was staying behind a lot. Guys were needing to talk about things. And it sort of became like most coaches know that if you're a coach, you're also a therapist. You're also so many other roles. And I felt like I can give back so much more to the people, to my students, to the community. That was one big thing, is I want to give back to the community that's given me so much. I feel like I have no idea what I would be doing. I went to school to be a teacher, and I'm so glad I'm not doing that right now, because both my sisters are teachers, and they're struggling, and I think I use it every single day still as I teach at my gym. But to me, I was like, it's time to just give back to the next generation. And I love the fact that I see growth in kids as they come in. Nowadays, kids come in and they're not even looking at me in the eyes. Their parents are like, hey, I want them to learn self-defense, gain confidence. And the kid can't even shake my hand or look at me in the eyes. And I was like, we got to change this. We got to put some, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, but make these kids more confident, really. It's just like, nowadays it's so tough. Everybody's a iPad kid. They come in and like, I don't understand. And the kids are on their phone. And I'm like, well, that's the problem right there. Like when we're in here, we're not doing that. And to me, it's like, there's so much more that martial arts, and in general, I call it exactly martial arts, jiu-jitsu, MMA, can give us than just making it to the UFC.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to realize that, because a lot of people who open gyms, I'm going to make the best fighters in the world. And, they tried to make it like that. And that's not what it's really about to me. It's providing a environment where people feel safe. They want to come and they want to just like be around their friends and learn a cool technique, learn something cool that they can use the rest of their life.
Yeah.
I want people to come and want to do it forever, not just for a little bit, not just for a fight camp and then you don't see them for a while. I want it to be a place that people come, they want to hang out at my gym, they want to be there. So that was like a big thing for me. It's like, hey, this is something that is different. It's like a place where people can just forget about the outside world, and the bills, the sickness, the problem that they're going with. And for this hour and a half that they're here, all they have to worry about is getting choked out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, that's dope. You know, I know we've talked a lot on the side, you know, off air or whatever, about fighting. Being a fighting coach isn't particularly like at the high of your priorities. Not that high. Like you'd rather, you know, you like coaching the kids, you like, again, like you said, helping the youth. You know, the person who's just worried about their bills getting paid, like you like all of that. But as a coach, you have fighters. People are just, I think it's always going to be, people are going to be attracted to you because they watched you be successful. They watched you do the right things and get there, or they don't even know that. They come in the gym and they find out and they're like, oh man, no idea this guy was a savage. Like I want to try to do what he did. Do you have any goals as a fighting coach? Like, do you want to get a guy to the UFC? Do you want, I mean, what do you want to do in that realm?
You know, like I'm not, like I said, I'm not looking for fighters too much, but you know, you have, as a coach, you have these guys come in and you're like, oh, you know, like a light bulb just goes off on the top of your head and you're like, this guy can probably do something. And, you know, especially when they want it also. And you can tell when somebody really wants it, you know, that they are the last person to leave the gym. They're the first person to get into the gym. They're asking questions. They're just appreciative of what they're getting. And, you know, I would, of course, love to be in the corner in the UFC one day, just kind of full circle of, man, I fought here and now here I am coaching one of my students who I helped make it all the way up there. So I would love that, but I would also just, I like to help people just live their dreams. You know, if I have a 35-year-old, you know, that telling me they want to fight, you know, I'm going to be real with them, you know, be like, hey, I don't know if you're going to make it to the UFC or anything. Most likely not, but you know, I can help you get that one off. We can find another 35-year-old, you know, and that's, to me, is really cool to see that happen, because when my students lose, I lose. When they cry, man, I'm crying. I've had days where we had a fight and all our guys lost, and I'm literally at home, like, so almost in the verge of tears, like, man, what am I doing wrong? What can I do different? And I'm someone who's always trying to learn. I don't think that I know everything. I'm one of the few coaches, I don't know, you can tell me more if you know any, but I go to many different gyms, and I just don't go to open mats. I go to classes. I've paid memberships in gyms while being a coach at my own gym, so I can continue to learn and improve, so that I can bring it back to my students.
Yeah.
Any coach that tells you they know everything here is bullshitting you. You should always be learning. You should always constantly bringing in that information into your head, because the sport's always changing.
Oh yeah, it's always evolving. I think about how many times I've watched it turn over, where like wrestling is the most dominant, or striking is the most dominant, or jiu-jitsu is the most dominant. You know, I think we're in an era right now where like really wrestling is coming back with the daggies. They're really they're showing it. Wrestling is king, but like before them, I would say striking was kind of making a good run. You had Israel Adesanya, Potan, you had Jones, you had all these guys, which they're still there, but you know, now they're taking L's and they're taking some losses. But I remember a time when jiu-jitsu was just beating everything. So it's cool to see that kind of the sport go up and down. And yeah, I remember a time whenever ankles were like forbidden, like don't touch someone's feet. It's like, you don't do that. It's a dirty move.
I'm surprised that sport sambo is not just like taken off right now the same way jiu-jitsu did, when people were like, what the hell is this?
Well,
you know, how is this happening? How is this guy doing this?
I think that you got to be built a little different to do sport sambo. And the reason why sport jiu-jitsu has taken off is because you don't have to be necessarily built that different.
No, you can be anybody.
Yeah. And you know, I even think like the way sport jiu-jitsu is currently put together is limiting its growth. Like they got to do some rule changes. They got to do something. Like it can't be okay to sit on your butt and nothing. There's no penalty. There's no like that.
Yeah, I think if you've noticed over the past few years, there's been this big push of no gi.
Yeah,
you know, it's weird for me to go to gyms now and train gi, because in South Florida, I feel like that's all we're doing is no gi. And ADCC rules are kind of pushing IBJJF away.
Yeah,
like,
ADCC is great.
I think they've like overtook the popularity for sure, and the rules are a little bit different. I think you can't pull guard. after a certain time, a lot of different things. But it's really aimed more towards, hey, try to take your partner down.
Yeah, they reward the aggressor. They reward the guy that's trying to make action happen and stuff happen. I mean, I love that. I love that they're not like pausing because there's a chair in the way or a table in the way. They're like, nah, keep going. Like it is what it is.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of steps that people can take to get into fighting, and I think it's like, hey, do jujitsu. That's gonna give you that feel of competition, and there's things now like combat jujitsu where, hey, you're going to do your jujitsu, but now you're going to see if doing barambolos and shit will really work when someone's slapping you in the face.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool, interesting.
I love CJJ. I think that's what all jujitsu should be. I think obviously not training in the gym, but like for competition, for sure. I think it's the silliest thing in the world to call like a self-defense sport or even like an attacking sport if you're putting yourself in a position where I see your face right here. You take 30 seconds, 40 seconds to set up this move or to finish it, bro.
I'm just gonna punch you.
Unrealistic.
I had a match against Diego Lopez, and it's a combat jiu-jitsu match, and that was pretty much a full-on MMA fight. We beat the shit out of each other. I'm hitting him in the face, and he's hitting me with his forehead onto my hands, and after I'm like, my wrists were hurting. That's a tough guy, man. Tough kid. But it's, if I've never done MMA before and I walked into that, I would have been like, what the hell is happening? I remember I had a combat jiu-jitsu match for combat night. Yeah. You guys had a whole tournament. I was the referee, and Ricky was the one who just whooped everybody. He whooped 3 people from Wagner's where I was training at the time. And I remember telling you after, like, I want to face this guy. Yeah. You know, just because I was amazed about like how he whooped them. And him and I are such good friends now. We had 2 matches. I like Ricky a lot. I'm still upset that he never took his MMA debut. He literally just talked to me about it. I'm still thinking about it. But I want to see him make it. I think he's really talented. I think he's really good. I know obviously he has a gym to run. He has a wife. He has a kid on the way. Yeah. Congrats, Ricky. I saw that online. I think it's awesome. I love seeing guys grow up too. Like I think about guys like Val Woodburn, who started with us like as a baby, and he won a title as an amateur. He went pro, won a title as a pro, went to the UFC as a kid, now as a business. It's like, man, like that, like, I get goosebumps. Like that's the stories. Even if he didn't go to the UFC, just like watching him get a family, watching him get a business. Grow, man, and become men. Positive way. Yeah, become men. I love seeing that. Sorry, I cut you off, Ricky. Tournament CJJ. But anyways, like he never, of course, did MMA before. So he's like, the first time that I hit him, he was like, oh shit. You uppercut slapped him. Yeah, I think I did like a slap. He was like, what is happening? You know? So the rule is as soon as a knee touches the ground, that person is able to be slapped now. Yeah. And Ricky went for like a double leg, and you were like, wow. I was like, oh, I've never seen, like, I hadn't seen that happen at that point. It was so early on. Yeah. But it was just like, you know, it's fun, and I think it's a good way for jiu-jitsu guys, if they want to get their feet wet in the MMA community, go try that. For me and my students, I make them do a jiu-jitsu tournament. I make them do a kickboxing tournament. So like a PKB or an IKF. Yep. I think those have been really awesome to have lately because especially the IKF, I think it is. They're really good at keeping control, making sure that these guys are not killing each other, keeping it a step below a real fight. An actual fight would be. Yeah. And once they do those 2 things, I don't care if they win or lose. You know, I'm like, they know what it's like now. They know what it's like now. All right, hey Mitch, I got a guy. Can I get him in a kickboxing fight first? I always wanted to do a kickboxing fight first. Again, full punches just to see what it feels like. Walking out, the crowd, the music, the nerve, the anxiety, get them to feel that. And now, okay, now you're ready for MMA fight. So I try to get them through that series of events before. Every now and then I might get 1 or 2 guys that I'm like, all right, you're ready for MMA, you know? Yeah, they're state champion wrestlers. Yeah. They come to you with a Golden Glove boxing background as a kid. You know, like there's definitely going to be exceptions. But if you've never competed before, Rich Grindell runs the IKF and PKB here in Florida. I love that he's doing it. I feel like it's a perfect like puzzle piece to the combat sports here in Florida. But I tell guys all the time, it's like, if you've never competed before,
You do not want your first time to be inside of the Combatagon. You do not want to be at combat night. If you've never been in front of a crowd, you've never been in front of your friends and family yelling your name, or someone yelling boo whenever you do something, like it's a crazy experience. But what you should do, I think, I agree with you. Jiu-jitsu tournament. There's a jiu-jitsu tournament every weekend. Every weekend in Florida, you can find something. You're going to have to spend money. Go spend the money. Invest in your career. If you're not willing to invest in something that you're supposedly wanting to do for the rest of your life, you're
God, I hate
full of it.
I tell people, oh my God, you have $200 Jordans, but you got a 99-cent mouthpiece.
Crazy.
And you're trying to be a professional fighter.
Yep. I say this all the time. There's very few things that you should invest. You have to invest in. If you want to play hockey, you're spending thousands of dollars on equipment, tournaments, everything. If you want to do football, I mean, you just name the sport that you want to do, and it's a very, very high entry point for money. If you're trying to do it serious, if you're trying to do it for fun, whatever, yeah. But if you're trying to do it for real,
protect your teeth, protect your balls.
Yep, teeth and balls. That's it. It ain't hard. The balls,
up a diamond cup,
$100. It'll last you forever. Diamond cup.
I tell people every time that they're like, "What kind of cup should I get?" I'm like, "Well, you need a diamond cup." There's a video out there of Mitch getting kicked by a 300-pound man, getting lifted up in the air and being like, "Oh shit, I'm okay."
Yeah,
that's how you know it works.
Sold me forever, and I didn't know at the time. Whenever I did this, that was going to happen. I was just like, first of all, I thought the guy was my friend. I thought Juan was my friend. Okay, and he's probably 350. He was big. Yeah, he was big, yeah. I lost a fantasy football bet, and I got kicked in the nuts. And I was like, I'm putting my cup on. So I put my cup on before training or whatever. And he's like, "Oh, you let me do it? You let me do it?" And then he just blasted me. I mean, he literally lifted me off the ground.
Lifted you up.
I wouldn't have kids right now. I would have went to the emergency room for how hard this dude kicked me. Thank God the cup worked. It worked great. It just like I felt a little vibration, and I was like, "Oh, I'm good."
That's what I don't get really in fights sometimes, where I'm like, "What kind of cup do these guys in the UFC have that it barely taps them and they're out for 5 minutes?"
I think it's almost ingrained in you that like when you get a chance to take a break, take it.
Yeah.
But honestly, I like the potons that are like, nah, like get out of here. I'm good.
Great. That was
because I think more often than not, the person getting kicked in the nuts needs the break less than the person who did it.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I was taking a class with Cub Swanson in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And he literally taught guys. He was like, "Yo, if the going gets tough, you're tired, whatever." He's like, "You get one nut shot for sure. You get one." He's like, "You might even get two." And I was like,
I've always wanted to at the weigh-ins just look at the guy in the eyes and be like, "I'm gonna kick you in the nuts so hard in this fight," and just whisper in his ear and just constantly feint kicks to the nuts. And
looking right
out, yeah,
like right at his junk. Yeah, that stuck with me. Whenever I heard that, it stuck with me. So like, I think people, if they're kicking you in the nuts, especially toward the end of the fight, or especially after you just hit them with a couple punches, like they're probably just tired. They're maybe not doing it on purpose. It just technique starts getting bad.
Of course, yeah.
And like, yo, forget that. Like, let's go. I've seen it so many times.
Nut shots, eye pokes happen to me. Sucks.
Yep.
I mean, I didn't get eye poked, but I definitely shoved my finger in someone's eye. Pretty bad mistake.
Yeah.
So those things suck for sure.
I remember that. I was so mad that he didn't continue that fight, but I also get it. You get paid a lot of money, and the fight's not going particularly your way.
Yeah, I get it. He was getting paid a lot more than I was. It was like his 10th fight in the UFC and like my third.
And I think it might have been like his 20th, man.
Something.
It was a lot. And even the Reebok bonus was big for him. I think he was maxed out on the Reebok bonus.
So like, what's the point?
Yeah, I get it.
Point of continuing?
Before I get too far away from it, I want to bring in the PKB and what I think is the right way to bring up an athlete. I agree with you. I think that you should do a jiu-jitsu tournament first, then PKB or one of these things, then Combat Night, Rise of a Warrior, Island Fights, one of the premier leagues in the state. I tell guys all the time. I tell coaches this. I'll say Jordan Moore. He put like 6 guys on a card recently, and I was like, "Jordan, what are you doing, bro? Why are you putting them on this card? What do you like? Why?" And it's like, yo, they're either not ready for a fight or they're ready for a fight. They're not ready for a fight on a card that's going to have 50 people in attendance, and you might be fighting someone's cousin that married their sister. Like, no. don't give them that experience. Like, don't give their fans that experience. Don't give the fighter that experience. Go do, if they're not ready for a combat night fight, go do a PKB.
Yeah.
Spend the 60, $70, be in a safe environment, know that you're covered. You know, there was recently an event here in Florida. I won't say the name of it because it's not my business. But a fighter and a coach told me that I trust very much, that works with us a lot. He had a new fighter come to him, already had a fight. And he was like, all right, well, we're gonna let you take the fight, but we fight with combat night. But I'm gonna let you take the fight. We'll experience this fight or whatever. Like, I fought for them before. They're cool. All right, cool. They go to the event. Kid ends up breaking his arm. The promoter tells him, I need $500 before I give you the insurance forms. The promoter also tells him, here's a Vicodin. It'll help with the pain.
No way.
Bro, when I tell you, yo, number one, like, this is the kind of thing you get. I know how much it costs to run an event the right way. So if I see an event with 50 people, 100 people in the crowd, how do they pay for that event? They just don't. Like, I know that
we've been in it for so long. I tell, these events come out and they do this and they do that, and I'm like, they're gonna have like 3 shows. They're gonna have 4 shows.
They're doing way too much.
They're not gonna last. Oh, really? But I've been in this for 20 years. There's been many events come and go. To see a promotion last 10 years or plus.
I don't know if there's anybody outside of us. Rise of a Warrior.
Rise of
been around for a long time. Island Fight's been around for a long time.
Been around for a while, but I can't think of any other promotions anymore,
yeah,
honestly.
There's a reason they've been around, though.
I can name 100 promotions that have existed in the time that I've been fighting, but they're gone.
Yeah. No, I mean, and it's so important too. Like, and if I see a show that shouldn't be able to exist, like if I see a show that, like, yo, there's no way they're paying the bills and making money, and like if they're doing everything right, I just know it's not possible. And you got to ask yourself, well, are they shortcutting the insurance? Like, are they forging insurance? I've heard people get in trouble for this, fighters and promoters. It's like, do you want to break your arm and then not be covered? Like that to me is like, nightmare fuel. Yeah. I tell guys, every state you go to, every place you go to fight, there's different rules. You found out recently about Canada. If you're an American fighter going to Canada, they don't have to insure you. That's simple. Like, you can go all the way to Canada. You could fight for a promotion, put your life on the line. And if you break your hand, if you break an orbital, something happens, God forbid, you're not covered in Canada. Like, you don't get insurance. So, if you go fight in Canada, you better tell the promoter, yo, I need a policy for myself. You need to pull a policy for me and pay for it to happen, because I'm not going to fight for you. I'm not going to risk life and limb and not be covered. I had buddies who go and fight in Texas, and I tell them, like, hey man, I'll never forget, smoking a J with a very high level UFC fighter, Curtis Blades, in Denver. I'm like, hey man, I was like, aren't you fighting in like 2 weeks? I was like, you probably shouldn't be smoking. He said, no, USADA, man. I just did a USADA test the other day. I'm good. And I was like, yeah, but weed's not a banned substance on the USADA list. It is for the commission in Texas. And he argued with me, and I was like, all right, whatever. A couple weeks later, he fights, popped. Damn. Texas, big fine, win removed. Look at it. You can look at his record and tell. And I was like, damn, bro. But fighters just don't understand the business. If I had to say, I said it earlier in the podcast, but like, fighters are horrible at business. They just don't understand it. Like, from like making the connection with a promoter that can actually give you fights at the pro level. Like, why are you fighting for Billy Bob's backyard brawls if you want to be a pro and he can't offer you pro fights? So you get to 6-0 fighting for Billy backyard brawl, and then you hit up Island Fights, or you hit up us, or you hit up Rise of a Warrior. Yo, I got 100 guys that trusted us with their amateur career. I got 100 guys that I know make weight, show up on time, do the right things. I would be stupid and I'd be foolish to ruin these business relationships with these 100 fighters that did the right thing coming up as an amateur, always got their medicals on time, and to risk bringing you on as a pro. I don't know if you turn medicals in on time. I don't know if you're going to show up on weight. I don't know if you're going to do anything that you should be doing as an athlete. Like, I don't know these things, but I do know these 100 guys do. So for me, and I tell guys this all the time, it just makes business sense to work with guys that I've worked with as amateurs, as pros. I don't hide it. I don't pretend like I'm going to give everyone equal opportunity. No, it's combat night or die. I don't care. Right. And if you might still fight for us, but yo, you're fighting Val Woodburn. You're fighting Shane Godoy. You're fighting Joe Gonzalez. You're fighting Seven Perkins. You're fighting Jackson Stanford. You're fighting Miles Amo. You're fighting the guys that came up with us. You're fighting the Christian Lawsons. You're fighting the Cedric Lassant. Like, you're not fighting We're not giving you cookie cutter fights. We're not giving you the easy dub or the win. Or I have people come to me with opponents. Like, oh, yeah, about this guy that's going to fight me, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, cool. I got a matchmaker that's going to put you against a real fighter. So I just wish when the sport understands business a little bit better, and like they understand, and I mean this on all levels, like when we were fighting, like you said, you got paid $500. I got paid $300. Do you think that's all we made?
No, I think my first fight, even though I got 500, I actually walked away with a couple thousand from pushing sponsors.
Tell us the ticket hustle you did.
The tickets. Yeah, I remember just like, yeah, I'm just gonna put tickets, Cage Warrior tickets on Craigslist for sale. And some random person hit me up and bought like 20 VIP tickets, not even to watch me, to watch they were like, oh my God, I love Mikey Gomez. And I'm like, okay, yeah, me too.
Yeah, great guy.
He like bought 20 VIP tickets from me. Just constantly, of course, God, I hated those hard tickets. Just people like, I'll get one. And you just have to be on them. Well, you got cash now because I got tickets on hand. It's not wait later or do this. Yeah. It was it was having like 3 jobs, honestly, like working on getting the sponsors, working on selling tickets, and of course training. And of course your regular 9 to 5 that you have. Yo,
it's so much easier for fighters now. You got Venmo, Zelle, Cash App.
Hey, just send it to me real quick.
Yeah, you got all these different options, and online, like everyone has their own special link and the different things they can do. It's like
now you can make money as an amateur, which is wild. Like you can
for sure.
There's guys who I'm like, damn, you got a lot of sponsors. Like you can sell tickets. Like you know what you're doing. And then others, they think just being a good fighter is all it is nowadays, and it sucks because it's not.
It's not.
Even bare knuckle exclusively is like, well, how many followers do you have? They legit ask you that. How many Instagram followers you have? How many YouTube followers you have? Because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that push.
And you know what guys don't understand is like, whenever you start a business, which if you're a fighter, you're a business, you want to find as many ways to make money off of that business without having to start a new business or without going outside of that circle of business. So like, I'll give you an example. Everyone can see Combat Night. Okay, cool. We got this business of Combat Night. All right, we got merch.
Another business. But guess what? It's Combat Night. All right, we've got sponsors. We got to hustle and get sponsors and do all these things to bring sponsors into the fold.
I'm sure there's plenty of other things that we have a production team that we can sub out and subcontract to another promotion. We have a cage that we can rent to other promotions and make money. But there's always all these things. It all comes back to Combat Night. But as a fighter, you should be making shirts. I have a whole wardrobe. If I had to, of Jim's shirts. If tomorrow someone said, all right, you can only wear Jim Alers shirts, I have enough to last me for 2 weeks.
I remember I think the sponsor where I made the most money was a t-shirt sponsor. They gave me 300 shirts, Hidden Skins.
Yep. Still local, still a good company.
Yeah. And of course, they printed it out. They put all my sponsors on them. And I sold each shirt for $20-$25. I mean, you do the math. That was like,
$6,000. Yeah.
Like
plus the sponsors.
Exactly.
Yep. I think that was when you had Honest Amish too, and I had got you a couple as well. So I mean, bro, you probably made out like
that was a good one.
Around 15 G's on that fight.
Especially for a time too when the UFC took away all our sponsors.
Yeah. That's the thing too, is like, you have to learn to hustle now. And I say this, as you start as an amateur, your very first fight, you should learn how to start hustling, talking, making more money, because you're not making any money as an amateur. So if you can sell 50 shirts at $20 a pop, let's say you paid $10, but you just doubled your money now. And if you can find 3 or 4 sponsors to cover the cost of those shirts, maybe $100. Hey, $100, I'll put my logo on your shirt. Maybe $150, I'll put your logo on my shirt. Now you're generating $1,000, $2,000 just off of a couple sponsors. You should have a couple buddies who are running a company. Maybe they're auto detailing. Maybe they're doing like tiling, roofing, whatever. Find a couple buddies that you know, or friends, family members that are running businesses, and ask them for $150. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm gonna have a hard time saying no to somebody in my family or one of my good friends that's asking for $150, especially if they're running a successful business. And I mean, honestly, if they say no, you either need to find new friends or maybe you're a piece of shit.
Most of your sponsors come from friends and family in the beginning. Too.
Yes.
Like, it's people who are just like genuinely want to help you.
Yeah, they want to see you achieve your dream.
They're like, they see that you're working hard. That's another thing. Don't ask for sponsors and
your profile picture is this.
Yeah, or you're at the bar drinking, you're posting about how you are smoking and drinking every day. I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
just think about the guy that owes you $20. Just think about this. Okay. Everyone has that guy that owes them $20, $10. You see their story and they're out partying and you're like, you owe me $20. And the sponsor feels the same way. I just gave you $200 because you said you were chasing this dream and this goal you had. And I see you out partying and drinking. I'm not saying you should never party, you should never drink. But if that's all they see, it's like, I'm not getting behind that guy. I'm getting behind the guy. You know, I give Timmy a lot of love on here. Tim Abdel Shahid. I'm getting around behind the 21-year-old that's running a business, stays grinding, is in bed at 9 o'clock, and is in the gym at 7 in the morning working. So that's the guy I want to sponsor. And if I'm sponsoring someone and giving them my money, I'm looking into them more. I'm checking their profile. I'm looking at their story. I want to see who they are, and not who they tell me they are.
Yeah, I tell my guys, like, hey, I will even buy the shirts for you. Right? I'll buy the shirts. You sell them, you know, for $25 or whatever. And let's say you don't have that upfront to buy it. Let me spot it for you. All you gotta do is sell the shirts. Put whatever logo you want, do whatever you want, but still, fight comes around, no shirt. No, you never sent me the design. No, you know, it's more than just fighting, but everybody just wants to do the fighting part and forget, like, it's not about that anymore. You can be the best fighter if no one's gonna notice you, if no one's gonna find you. It's gonna be hard to make it to the next level.
That's it. You know, the part of it too is like you were saying earlier about you fought 6 times the year you went. Mike Perry, Alex Nicholson also did very similar. They fought like 6 or 7 times in like 18 months to get to the UFC. That's it too. Like if you're too busy, like trying to chase down, and this happens. I see guys like this all the time. They're trying to chase down the perfect fight. They don't only want to get a good fight person they can beat. They want to get paid to beat that person. Like, hey, I've had people literally, hey, I'm looking for like a soft landing. I'm looking for an easy opponent. I'm looking for a bum. Can you help me out? No, man, we really can't. But hey, we got this 2-2 guy. It looks like he might match well with you. What do you think? Oh man, I don't know. Like, okay, well, you're a D1 wrestler and he never wrestled in his life and he's a white belt in jiu-jitsu. Okay, yeah, it's a good fight. It's a good fight. What are you gonna pay me? I mean, what? I don't know. You just handpicked your opponent. What do you want to get paid? You want $2,000? Is that what you want? Like, they're asking for so much. You're never gonna fight. You're just not. Like, you're gonna be put on the back burner.
And then time goes by quick.
And a lot of times these guys don't sell tickets.
Yeah.
So like you don't sell tickets locally, and now you're looking globally to try to find a fight. You know, most shows are not like us where I don't really care. I said all the time, I don't care if you sell tickets or not. The brand sells tickets. But if you're going to fight in New England or New Mexico or wherever, you're probably fighting the hometown guy because they want to sell tickets and they're not going to fly you out and do all these things. So like you're probably not getting a very good matchup. So that's like kind of what people do. They just chase these like little paydays, $1,500 here, $1,500 there. And before you know it, you're an even fighter. You're 4-4, you're 5-5. You're never getting to the big payday. And you were so caught up in chasing that $1,500 payday on the regional scene that you never chased the sponsors that would have given you $1,500 paydays for every fight.
Right.
So it's like you're chasing the wrong nut. What you should be chasing is the friends and family for sponsorships, how to sell tickets, how to promote yourself, how to build your following. Because even if fighting doesn't work out, you might decide to open a gym one day, and a following is a good thing. Having a name is a good thing. Being well known in the sport is a good thing. So it's so important for fighters to understand business a little bit better and understand, like, you know, there's so much money out there to be made. And again, not as a promoter, but like, especially if you're a debut amateur guy, you're not getting paid.
It's hard because as fighters, sometimes we think it's going to last forever, and God, we can't fight even though I still think I can fight forever. I would love to. If I didn't have so many injuries, I would be still finding something. I really like that dirty boxing format. So maybe one day.
No, I remember sitting there watching it with you, and you're like, "Oh, this would be cool to do. Maybe maybe we could talk to Mike and get me in here." I'm like, "No, we can't."
I just another 40-year-old who has the same idea.
There's plenty of them out there, man. We're all like a little crazy in the head. I feel like the fighters in general, man. Like,
yeah, I'm not looking to fight a 22-year-old.
Yeah,
you know, that's up and coming. let them have their day.
Yeah, but like you said, man, it just doesn't last. Like it doesn't last. There's a finite. It's gonna end. And for most people, just being honest, it does not end well. Because they never understand how to build their own brand or build their own business. Yeah, the same can be said for like MMA and promotions. They're so focused on taking care of the ticket seller and not building their brand that when that ticket seller is gone,
That's it.
they lost. Like they didn't gain any of his fans for their brand. Like they he had 100 fans and there's 100 fans left with him.
I think honestly it's weird. The UFC definitely has a brand, but I think they do a bad job at building everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, Connor's gone. Pay-per-view numbers and everything are super low. WWE, which I'm a huge fan of right now,
great character building.
At, hey, you want to leave? It doesn't matter. We can make anybody the next champ. We can build them. We can sell their merch. We can do this. If they're gonna push, if they're gonna hustle, if they're gonna follow along and come to every event with us, we're gonna make them champ.
Yep.
We don't need you. When it's the brand.
Yeah.
It's the WWE brand that brings the people in.
The UFC did that for a little bit, man. The ESPN deal crushed the marketing machine that UFC had put together. They used to do these big press conference tours. At one point, I remember them doing photo shoots with Sage Northcutt, Paige Van Zandt, DC, or Daniel Cormier, Conor McGregor.
They had their little crew.
They had the whole little like the superhero crew of these
Rousey.
Olympic athletes, and like they did a really good job at marketing. And then I think whenever ESPN came on board, obviously ESPN's getting a big chunk of their pay-per-view. It's like, why should we spend so much money on building these characters? But it's like, I think brand building is never, and building your own platform is never a bad idea. Even if you are getting all this free marketing from ESPN, Sunday Football, all that kind of stuff, because at the end of the day, now they're not on ESPN anymore. How many of those fans did you capture? The Sunday Football guys.
Hey, I'm going to sign on to Paramount.
They're going to sign on to Paramount. I mean, Paramount, I will say that deal is insane. That is stupid. I couldn't believe it. I was arguing with somebody about it's not for all the pay-per-views. And they're like, no, it
How
is.
How will that work with
That was Ramsey.
Pay-per-view points and stuff? I'm wondering, like, if that's going to be part of the people's contract. It can't be.
They got to be phased out completely now. I heard a while ago they were working on like not doing that anymore and getting rid of pay-per-view points. But
how can we pay these guys less?
Yeah. How can we get less? Perfect. Yeah, I think the Paramount thing, it's crazy because the UFC got what, like $9 billion, double what they paid for they're just Paramount was licensing their footage for double what the UFC sold for 5 years ago, right? 5 years.
We got to see if that payday goes up for the fighters. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. Pay's got to go up. I'm on a weird with pay, like, because I've been a fighter and I'm a promoter now. I do agree. I want, just so everyone knows, like, I want Combat Night pay to be where debut guys are getting 1,000 and 1,000. I want it to be where champions are getting 5,000 and 5,000. We're not very far away, I don't think, from either of those numbers. I think we'll get there. I think what will be a big difference is like a legit broadcasting deal, 2 or 3 like serious big name sponsors coming on board, and I think we'll be right there. It's we're not too far away, but I've seen so many promotions who come out the gate paying that kind of money and they're gone after 3 events, and it's like, oh,
exactly.
There goes somebody who could have built a good brand and could have given opportunities to fighters to get them there. But yeah, I think fighter pay's got to go up. I think you got to at least have like a livable wage. Like, you cannot be risking your life and limb on the UFC, the biggest sport in the world, and not have like, okay, I'm at least making $50K a year.
Right.
Regardless if I fight.
That's literally what brought me to bare knuckle. At first I said no, and then they gave me an offer and I was like, this is more than I made in my last fight in the UFC.
Yeah.
I'm like, how can I not do this at least just one time? So it does. Money talks. Money talks.
No, for sure. I mean, man, and again, but that was your following and your background.
It helped.
I see guys trying to go to the bare knuckle and they're getting paid 1,000 and 1,000 or 1,500, 1,500. It's like they're taking the same risk you took.
I know guys who are champions getting paid like $5,000.
Crazy.
And then they're the champs.
Yeah.
Of a promotion who's making pretty good money.
Yeah. No, that's crazy. Like I couldn't imagine. Bare knuckle is not something I ever want to offer. To me, it's too brutal. Like every time I went with you, I was like, oh, even watching you, don't. Oh man, like it for me, it's really brutal. It's not. I understand there's a lot of people love it and they want to do it, but like for me, it's just like it's too much.
Terrified before every fight. Like, holy, I would be in the back. People are coming back, just looking like what's that guy's name from the Goonies?
Sloth.
The Sloth. And I'm like, oh shoot. And I'm about to go do this, you know. And I'm like, I better just make it over quick. That was my goal. Get it over as fast as possible.
MMA fights are crazy when you see guys come back all just like defeated. You know, they walk out pumped up, like, yeah, I'm ready to go. And they come back and they're like, you know, head down, like, oh, he lost. That is to me crazy.
Right.
Even not even comparable to seeing a guy in bare knuckle come back with cuts all over his face, can't move his hands. And I'm sitting back and I'm like, this guy really wants to do this. What is wrong with Jim? Like, I just remember thinking, like, this guy's fucking crazy. But what a rush.
Yeah, I'm a little crazy though, I think.
What a rush. Sure. watching you fight in bare knuckle, the only like time that comes comparable to it is watching Terrence McKinney fight. Like, like his fights are just nonstop adrenaline, crazy going, pumping.
My favorite fight was Leonard Garcia. To me, it was just like, oh, I'm fighting this legend.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, I remember in the middle of the fight being like, oh my God, I'm whooping him. You know, like remembering that moment.
That one hurt me, man. I'm not gonna lie. That was one I did not like that one the most because I had to live with Leonard for a few months. Like I used to go out and stay at the ranch with him and Cowboy, and I knew like I had so many conversations with him, and I knew him, and I just I didn't like seeing you beat him up.
I did.
Yeah. No, I get it. If I'm in your shoes and I'm beating up one of your old friends, like I probably don't care either. But
to me, though, it was like, man, I watched this guy fight so many times in the UFC. Like even while in the UFC, I was a fan. I was like excited to see these fighters. I'm taking pictures. I'm fanboying with them. Like, oh hey, you know. So to me, I was like, oh, I read that he was never knocked out in like 25 fights. So I'm like, oh shit, I was the first person to do that. That was cool.
That's crazy. Speaking of a crazy experience, man, what would you say is like your crazy experience you've had in the sport? What's something that you're gonna tell your grandkids about? Give me like 2 or 3. I know you got a lot, man. You literally, again, for martial artists and fighting, you're the epitome of what I think guys should chase. Like, not necessarily the UFC, but like chase the experiences that you get, you know, traveling around the world, fighting people from around the world. And for me, that was like always my goal. Like I only fought one time out of the country. But like when I first started, it was like, I want to fight out of the country all over the place. I want to do all these things. I want to travel the world. So give me 2 or 3 of your tops.
To me, I would always say, you know, if I get nothing else out of this, I want to travel the world on someone else's dime. And I was blessed I think I fought in like 7 different countries. I felt like I didn't get a lot of love in Florida because I wasn't fighting in Florida, trying to get in that Florida Hall of Fame one day. But I didn't fight in Florida, but I was definitely based out of Florida the whole time and got to fight all over. But I mean, one big thing was fighting in Ireland, right, on New Year's Eve for the belt, which was crazy. It was super cool. And going out after with the belt and just partying with the Irish was amazing.
Jim was supposed to fight Conor McGregor. I just wanted to put it out there. He said, I wasn't going to say his name.
One podcast without someone bringing that up. God.
That was the one he pulled out of, I think.
He pulled out of that one.
New Year's Eve event. That was the first fight I think I went to that you fought on. I was official media for Cage Warriors. I brought a camera, pretending like I knew how to take pictures.
That was wild. I think to me, fighting in the Middle East was crazy. Like it was just such a culture shock. Fighting in places like Jordan and Bahrain was crazy. Like you go in and they're like, hey, these are the rules. Don't walk outside like this. Don't do this. Don't do that. But I think the craziest thing, I'm not, man, there were so many wild things, but
tell the Dubai story or the Abu Dhabi story. That's a good one.
What, just
the whole thing?
The whole thing, man.
The lights going out while we're warming up.
So that was my first fight in the UFC. Flying 16 hours to Abu Dhabi. Luckily, I already had been there because I won the Abu Dhabi Pro Trials, which was this promotion that if you won the trials, it was in the gi, that you got a free flight to Dubai. So I was like, oh, cool, the second time going. But we're there. There's it's like 110 degrees outside. It's outside the promotion. We do an outside card. everybody has their own trailers or so. I think I was the first fight, maybe the second.
Yeah, you were one of the early ones.
And we're warming up, lights go out. They like lose power. I guess they lose power a lot over there or something.
Yeah, this is the UFC, guys. This is the UFC.
We lose power. So we're just like, what do we do? What do we do? I mean, we're just, hey, we don't need eyes to grab.
Yeah, we turn on like camera lights.
Yeah, we just kind of do our thing. But it was funny. I do the fight. We both beat each other up. We beat each other up pretty bad. I think they told us like, hey, it was between us and some other fight for fight of the night.
Mm-hmm.
But they send us both to the hospital. They almost arrest us for they thought that we got into some kind of street fight. And my opponent, we ran in the van together, all beat up after. He had to explain to them, no, we're in this fight promotion and everything, because he was, I guess, from the area.
Yeah.
And I remember you telling me that you stayed back and like 20 people were like, hey, Jim, can I get a picture with you?
It got so bad for me I was telling people no, and there was like mobs swarming, and they were like visibly upset that I wouldn't take a picture with them. They didn't understand that I was not you. So I just started like
might as well
start taking pictures.
My first ever UFC fight was the fight that I fought in. I'm sure that happens to a lot of people. It's not cheap to go to a UFC fight, and coming up as a fighter, like you're broke.
Yeah.
So
you got to pay. So guys, you think because you're in the UFC, everything's paid for. It's not.
No.
Still to this day, even when Jim fought. So Jim fought in the UFC. That's about 10 years now.
10 years ago, yeah.
So 10 years ago, they cover one coach's flight. You got 3 coaches. Guess who's covering those other 2? You are. So they cover one coach's flight. If you're a guy, you get 1 hotel room. So if you have 3 coaches, do the math. They don't want to all snuggle up together. Who's buying a second room? You are. So if you're a woman, you get 2 rooms. So the UFC does do that. But guys, it's not like in fighting, becoming a pro, you didn't make it. Getting the UFC, you didn't make it unless you understand business and you built a brand. You look at Sean O'Malley, and people can say what they want. You look at Paige Van Zandt, people can say what they want again, but these people have built a brand on their name, and they're making a ton of money off of it. Yeah. Streaming and Twitch, doing the Twitch, for
however you can bring it in.
Yeah, they're making money, and there's more guys that do that than just them, but there's a lot of guys. There's 90% of the UFC doesn't do that, and they're the ones they're the John Fitches that are complaining when their career's over. I only made this much money. It's bullshit. The man held me down. No, you are your own man. Build your brand and start as an amateur. Start from day one. Learn how to sell 10 t-shirts, then 20, then 30, then 40, then 50, and then 300.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, I was blessed to have Hank just in my corner all the times. He flew around with me.
Yeah.
So not a lot of people have that. And
yeah, most coaches aren't. I mean, Hank would say, hey, cover that flight. I'll pay for my own flight. And hey, I'll pay for the third corner's flight if I have to.
I touched his life.
Yeah, he touched you.
No, yeah. And it's been something that I'm like, I constantly think like, as a coach right now, I want to be the Hank to these guys, so if I can pay for their lunches, if I can help them with their travel, whatever I can try to do. Now I'm trying to do that, because I got hit with that at one gym that I was at towards the end of my career, and they're like, gave me this bill after of, here's the flights for us, here's our hotels, here's this, plus the 15% that I was paying them. I was like shocked. I was like, what the hell? I'm only made this much money, a percent of my fight of the night that night. And
so 5% of that.
5% of that, plus I had to pay for all the other stuff. I'm like, this is wild.
Yeah.
I never had to experience it before. And I was like, man, I was really blessed throughout my whole career to have someone like Hank.
But it goes back to like, if you don't know, if you're being blessed like you were with Hank, and you had no idea, you thought this was just, hey, everyone has somebody who's going to come and help them extra. But no, you don't. And you're lucky that you had that. And as soon as you left that and you went to South Florida, you realized like, oh shit, this is how it really is.
I thought, the guys make fun of me all the time. I was, there's this interview that came out that said, I felt like a big fish in a small pond.
Yep.
I think I was misquoted.
No, I think you said exactly that when you left us.
I go down to American Top Team thinking I'm in the UFC now. I need to train with these
Big
big
dogs,
dogs,
the
all these
guppies.
guys. And little did I know I was just another pawn in their game. Hey,
Yeah.
you look about the same size of the guy that
We think's gonna win the belt next.
Is gonna fight, or this guy. And I'm like, but my guy I'm fighting is 6 feet tall. Who cares?
Yeah.
Because they have, you're just another number to them.
Yeah.
They have guys making them so much money. What do they care of your small prelim card fight?
Yeah. 15% of 10 grand is not comparative to 15% of 250 when Dos Santos fights.
Right. Exactly.
And guys, that's another reminder for me is like, yo, I think the most important thing in the sport is loyalty, and it's loyalty to yourself. Number one, the number one person you have to worry about being loyal to is yourself. You'll find out real quick the gym you go to ain't your family. As soon as you decide to stop paying them a membership, you'll find out real quick that the your training partners don't give a damn about you if you're not there to give them rounds. Whenever it's your turn to be in camp and you need rounds, pay attention to who shows up for you. Pay attention to who doesn't have a fight but still comes to the gym to give you work. That's your real training partners. That's the real guys. I see guys all the time, and I tell them this is like a repeat story for me. It's like when you're 70 years old and you look back at your life and you're telling your grandkids the story of Bob, the story of Mitchell. Are you going to say, yeah, I could have went to the UFC, but I stayed at this gym that I didn't feel like was really helping me grow, or that was really looking out for me because of family? No, you're not.
I am someone who bounced around. Like what is the word?
Creonte. Creonte.
And you have to be selfish in a way, but I think once you find that family, that squad, like, yes, they would understand, like, hey, I have to go
cross train.
I have to go do this. But you should always keep that main team, like, hey, this is my team. These are my people, and they understand. If you have a coach that's like trying to keep you from learning, I think you need to go somewhere else. I bring my students with me. Again, I'm another rare coach that I'm going to Ricky's, which is down south. I'm going to this gym. I'm going to this gym. Who wants to come with me?
Yeah.
And people are like, but what if they like that? If they like that gym better, hey, maybe it's time for them to go to that gym.
Yeah.
Maybe they need to experience. And I've had people leave and come back, Rod, many times, but you see what's out there and you're like, oh man, this guy doesn't really care for me.
Yeah. That's where I am now too with promoting and being a promoter. It's like, go fight for Billy Bob's fight, Backyard Brawls. Go do it.
I send them. Go
have fun with it. I can't wait to hear about your experience. I don't even want to hear the experiences anymore. I used to be like, let me hear about it. But now I'm just like, you're not telling me anything new. I already know. Like, I know what it is. Have fun with that. I think it's good to experience something different, but you're right. You will know whenever you find that team that really is your family. Like, you'll know. It's an unmistakable feeling. It's really dope to have that second family and to finally find that. Loyal to yourself first. But as soon as you find that those people that are like your ride or dies and you got them, don't mess that up, because I don't think you find that more than like once. I think if you find that group, you're really lucky. I think a lot of guys never find that, but if you do find it, you're really lucky to find that second family, and don't mess it up. Don't go around doing interviews talking about how you're too good for your team and that you're the big fish in a small pond. Don't do that.
Don't do that. That's a big mistake.
You having like your most embarrassing moment in the sport? Anything that's stands out for you? Something that happened in a fight or in training, or?
Let me see.
I had like 12 pop in my head.
Oh,
and they probably don't even register on gyms.
I can't even think of any. Yeah, exactly. You have some for me? Damn.
Not even. No, they're not even probably embarrassing for you.
I had
funny moments.
One funny moment is, I'm a big coach of do as I say, not as I do, and so I would eat crazy after fights, and I mean like anything I saw.
You ate crazy after weigh-ins.
After weigh-ins. Yeah, not even after fights. After weigh-ins, and I would gain 20-25 pounds back in, and there was this one time that I just had like these burps that were wild. And I remember just in the corner one time, like burping, and you being like, what the hell was that?
Did you shit yourself?
Yeah. But Yeah, I used to eat crazy, crazy, crazy. I definitely advise people not to do that now, but
Yeah. I
I
never
didn't know these
forget
things.
Ireland was the first trip with you, and getting off the scale, you had like a Reese Big Cup. You were like literally like the first thing you're eating is a Reese Big Cup. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? So I'm like, all right, maybe that's just his thing. He eats a Reese's Big Cup. And then like you're eating a second Reese's Big Cup. And I was like, all right, what the and Hank's just sitting there like, yeah,
I
it's
think
normal.
that day, I think I remember I had a pie pizza, a burrito, 10 chicken wings, ice cream, the Reese's. Just as we're walking, I'm just buying
Yeah.
things.
Every restaurant we come by, Jim's interested, and he's like sits down and eats, and I'm just like, I didn't even I was so I was like, I'd never been a part of it, so I didn't know, I didn't want to say anything really, but I remember I was sitting there, I was like, what the fuck is he doing? Why is he eating so much? How is he eating so much? And I was just like, yo, this is gonna suck. He's gonna suck for him tomorrow. I don't know how he's gonna perform. I don't know how he's gonna fight. And this motherfucker performed and he fought.
I have a iron stomach, I think.
Yeah. And we walked too. We walked a good bit. That was the only thing Hank was worried about. Hank was like, don't lose your
Don't
legs.
lose your legs.
Yeah, like you can't walk too much. Um, I had I remember one time this fool, I like telling this story too, but he literally took one of my apples. I was in a fight camp and I was like busting my ass. I'm very calculated in camps. And I went to go grab my apple, and so I grab it, I go to turn it to bite it, and someone had taken a giant bite out of the opposite side of my apple. So like imagine this, guys. You're 2 weeks out from a fight. This is your snack to get you through for the next 2 hours is an apple. You know, I just finished a hard training session. I go to grab it and I lost it immediately. I was like, who the ate my apple? I mean, I lost it in the locker room. Everyone's like naked, getting showers, and I'm like, I couldn't handle it. I completely lost myself over this apple. No one would admit. No one in the moment would say. Everyone knew it was Jim. Like we kind of all knew, like this is Jim. But I didn't have confirmation. I could have, if Jim had said, haha, it was me, I probably would have turned that apple into applesauce on his forehead in that very moment. There was no stopping me.
My big thing was I need to have a good time on training,
Even at the expense of others.
Especially, like if I'm not laughing, if I'm not smiling, like I don't want to be there. I don't care if I'm training with the best people in the world.
Yeah.
If I didn't have a good time, I'm like, I don't want to be here, man. It's like, I want to be in a place where I want to go to. I want to have a good time. I want to be with my boys. And if I'm not feeling that, I'm like, this place sucks. So I definitely coming up did a lot of crazy things just to try to bring laughs to everybody.
Yeah. So for people that want to understand, I want you to understand what he means by this. He means he will jump on your back and put you in a rear naked choke and not let you tap. By not let you tap, it's like, oh, you're asleep. Okay, you can get out now. He'll take bites of your food. He will show you his black butt cheek.
That's
yeah. New Jim isn't like this anymore. All right, man. So as we start kind of closing the podcast, we ask a couple questions, just random stuff, kind of see where you're at. I will. We kind of already went over this, so it might be a little easier to answer some of these things. What, if any, advice do you have for a guy looking to get into the sport? Not someone who's never done anything before. They just want to get into the sport and they want to take a fight. They want to start fighting.
Yep. Man, listen to your coaches. There's a reason why you're paying for coaches. That reason you have coaches. We have the experience. We've been through it, most of us, and we're not just saying things just to say it. There's reason behind a lot of this stuff. So try to be a student of the game. Don't come into it knowing it all. Leave the ego out the door. Too many times we have guys like come in and I've been in 25 street fights or whatever. That doesn't matter anymore. Just leave that ego out the door, and I think you'll get a lot more out of it. That's one big thing for sure.
Yeah, I agree. No, it's so funny to me. Like, I hire a plumber. Plum. I don't care. Plum. I don't care. Well, sure. I think you do it.
Yeah.
I trust you. I hired you. You're a plumber. So if you're hiring a coach and you're spending $200, if you don't trust them, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's that simple. And if you don't trust anybody, maybe you're the problem.
Yeah. I say, hey, I'm hiring people who know more than me. There's a reason. I'm not gonna go train with my buddies in the garage who know the same shit as I do.
Yeah.
You know, I got a coach. I want to listen to them. Hopefully they have my my goodness in their heart, you know, that they want to do well, make me do well and not see me fail.
Yeah.
And that's hopefully the goal right there.
Yeah. And you'll find that out. You'll figure that out real quick. So we always ask a couple of fun questions as well. We've been doing the gorilla. That's where that ship has sailed. I don't want to do the gorilla anymore. Man, I should have sent some videos for us to watch. Did you guys have any videos? Do we have any in the chat that we could pull up maybe? Get one? No. Yeah, I should have thought about that. We haven't done a podcast in like a month, so it's kind of we're kind of out.
Getting back to it.
Yeah, we have a pretty good little closing scene that we do with different little questions and stuff. All right. I got a good question. No, it's not gonna be a good question because what's up? What's a good question you've been asked that I can ask you? What's something you want to touch? Is there anything you want to touch base on before we get out of here? And go to probably hit the farmer's market or something with our families.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, like for myself as a fighter, I think most fighters, I think we need to like I said, realize that we're more than that. We're more than just a fighter. And like for me, that was very hard to change. You know, my whole life was for a while just fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching fights, I was doing everything and like all day, every day. And there's just so much more in life than that, you know? So especially as we're winding down and maybe the career didn't go the way you thought, there's just so much more in life. I think in general, I think it's hard to be a fighter. We all got to be a little crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a up and down roller coaster. Definitely the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. I think I've been in situations where, you know, I'm like, I don't want to be here anymore. You know, I think a lot of men, or especially in fight game, have like some mental health issues, you know, and it's like we gotta deal with it. We gotta talk to each other. We gotta have boys that we can call up. I love that I have someone like you that I can be like, hey Mitch, you know, this is happening and I need more of that.
Yeah.
You know, I had a student who just passed away. I know we want to end in a light way, but took his own life. And you know, I really want to push out there, like, if you guys are going through something, find someone to talk to, reach out. There's hotlines, there's so many things, you know. Don't think that you're alone, because there's so many people who love you out there.
Yeah, no, man, I couldn't agree more. You know, over the years, and especially in the fight game, I've lost more people. I've lost more people than I should have. And a lot of it is, and you know, it's not it is as a man, you think I don't need to go to anyone with my problems. I don't need to talk to anybody. I am not that guy. Like, I am the first person to pick up the phone and call someone and bitch or complain, moan and groan, be upset, cry. It doesn't matter. So I'm blessed in that I have the ability to communicate my feelings and my thoughts. I know a lot of people don't. And I know that it's hard for people to like reach out and kind of put themselves out there and say, hey, I'm vulnerable, or I'm weak right now, I need help. Especially in the fight game, because I think everyone's trying to be, you know, machismo. But yeah, when we're talking about earlier, that family, you know, you want to find that in a gym. That's what you really need, especially with what we're doing. Like, yo, we're trying to beat the shit out of each other. So you want to have that person that, you know, you can, after you just spent an hour trying to murder each other, simulate it, you can sit on the mats after and you can just talk and be friends and be boys. Like, I think we all need that. But if you don't have that already, you need to find that in a gym or find that in a training partner, because that's going to be the person that you call. That's going to be the person you talk to.
Yeah, this shit's hard, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, highest of highs, lows of lows. There was days where I come back from the gym and I'm like, I fucking suck.
Yeah.
I suck. And not only do I suck, I got so much other shit in life that I'm dealing with, you know, and you need that one person to talk to, you know. And I'm glad that later on now in my life, I have that. I wish that I was more vulnerable in the beginning of my life to be like, yo, I'm going through this shit. I'm making these mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm doing these things. Can I have your advice? You know?
Yeah, no, and I always told guys there's three people I think everyone needs in their life. And that's kind of what we're talking about right now. And I think you need to be a mentor to somebody. You need to be someone that's lower than you that you're helping bring up, or you're just helping guide through life. It could be your little brother, your little sister. It could be, you know, anyone. It could also be a training partner who just started at the gym that you really gel with. And then you need someone on like your own wavelength. Like you need somebody that's going through the same things you are. If you're trying to start a business, maybe they're trying to start a business. Trying to start a family, maybe they just started a family. Like I look at my friends, I'm blessed. I'm so lucky. I'm surrounded. Jim always makes fun of me about how many best friends I have. But I really do. I feel like I have 100 best friends. I have 100 people that I can call, vent to, talk to about different situations, whether it's business or family or, you know, girl issues, whatever it is. I have a lot of people I can call and talk to. But you need that one person on your same wavelength. Whatever your goals are, they might have similar goals. And then you need someone that you can look up to and you can talk to. I have a lot of those people in my life too. Hank Porche, we've talked about a lot, is that guy, I think, for both of us. That, you know, they're not going to judge you. They're not going to make you feel stupid. You might need to feel stupid, but they're looking out for you, number one. So if you can find those three people in your life, that person that you're kind of mentoring and guiding, that you want to like be a good example for that person. And then your person that you're the same wavelength, the same position in life, like you kind of want to beat that person. They want to beat you too. And like it's a good friendly competition and you guys can talk about anything. And then that mentor that's like that's the guy you're chasing. Like, okay, if I can get there, I'm real happy.
Yeah.
For me, and like honestly, man, the mentors, the people I look up to have helped me the most in, I mean, talking about business, relationships. To be able to talk to a business owner,
a little bit of wisdom.
Yeah.
Goes so long.
To be able to talk to a business owner about marital or like woman issues or like what's happening in your relationship, and he's been through it. He's in 40-year relationship and he's running a business the whole time. It's like, yo, please, like it's better than therapy. He's, you know, Hank has helped me a lot. John Mancuso's helped me a lot. There's a few guys, Bill Moore, Lance Maxwell. There's a lot of guys that are older than me that I've looked up to that have been in long relationships and also run businesses. But yeah, I agree with you, Jim. I think a lot of guys could really use someone in their life to talk to, and don't let it pile up.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, man, we'll end on that note. I think it's a good note. It is definitely a little bit more of a somber note, but you know, guys, Josh Chamale Foundation, we do scholarships for athletes. My business partner didn't take his life, but he had a drug overdose and ended up losing his life. Was going through a lot of stuff at that time. And, you know, it's not always taking your own life. Sometimes it's just plausible deniability. You know, you're doing things that, you know, you shouldn't be doing. You're drinking, you're driving, you're doing drugs, whatever the case might be. So it's not necessarily suicide or you know, taking your own life. It can just be the plausible deniability of not wanting to acknowledge what you have going on in your life. So if you guys feel like you're going through it right now, don't be afraid to reach out to somebody that you love and that you know loves you, because I guarantee they want to hear from you. They'd much rather hear from you and listen to you bitch or vent than go to your funeral. So yes, we'll end with that note, guys. Hope everyone has a good Sunday. We'll be hitting the farmers market later. If you're around Lake Eola, come through the Lake Eola farmers market. If you don't know the Beast Face, Jim just hit the Beast Face. I think everyone's kid is a fan of the Beast Face. My kids love it. They love their T.O. Jim and they love making the Beast Face. But that's it, guys. We'll see you guys later.
Are you ready for combat night?